Can you even wrap your head around what just went down? The judge lays out the shocking nature of the case, feeling that Ms. Holthouse isn't sure if her 3-month-old son's dad is her ex, or get this, her own mother's boyfriend. The audience can't help but groan as they absorb the scandalous scenario. You won't believe what comes up next. Brace for it.
Ms. Holthouse, you are here paternity of your 3-month-old son, Zayden.
Yes, Your Honor.
Shockingly, you can either a man you shared a sexual relationship with who wants nothing to do with your child, who happens to be your mother's boyfriend. Now, Mr. Chenault, though you admit you were intimate with your girl daughter, you say you strongly fathered her child.
Yes, Sean.
Buckle up, because this ride gets wilder. Mr. Shinewald spills the beans on how a misdirected text message, complete with a typo, led to an illicit fling with his girlfriend's daughter. From innocent texts to not-so-innocent encounters, their story escalates faster than a soap opera. Just wait until you hear what happens next.
It started out as a text message, Your Honor. I received wasn't supposed to come to me, and a word was misspelled. A few days later, she had on clothing, little skirt, breast out. Next thing you know, one thing led to another. We started flirting with each other back and forth.
Did you ever think in your mind this is appropriate?
Seriously, did that just happen? In a twist straight out of a telenovela, Ms. Holthouse details a late-night call that led to a sneaky rendezvous at the park, complete with all the makings of a scandal. As she snuck out to meet him, the plot thickened. But hold your horses. The next part is even more jaw-dropping.
So I was asking him when he's going to come over.
Did you have any intention about having a sexual relationship with your mother's boyfriend?
I had not really thought about it until I got a phone call. He was talking about having sex, going somewhere. I snuck out of my grandma's house that night. We went to a park.
And what happened at the park?
We had sexual relations.
Oh, it gets messy. It turns out Mr. Shinewald wasn't just keeping it in the family. He was playing a double game with both Ms. Holthouse and her mom. As the judge and audience express their disdain, the tangled web of lies and deceit becomes clearer. Stick around, you ain't seen nothing yet.
And who confessed?
Actually, I confessed. Yes, ma'am.
Also still sleeping with her mother during that time. Now you know that's just nasty. Ms. Holthouse, how were you sneaking around behind your mother's with her boyfriend?
We would just, when she's not there, she left to go somewhere. Sometimes when she's asleep.
Just when you think it couldn't escalate further, Ms. Holthouse's mom nearly catches her and Mr. Shinewald in a compromising position. What followed was a massive blowout, revealing the depth of their sneaky affairs. But wait, there's more chaos to come.
Did she ever almost catch you?
Yes. She caught me standing in front of her, my pants unzipped. She was really furious and upset and got into huge arguments and fights about things that were going on.
When you found out you were pregnant, Ms. Holthouse, did your mother know anything about this?
At the moment, I did not know, but as my mom was pregnant with my sister.
As if this couldn't get any more convoluted, Ms. Bogardus, the mother herself, steps into the court. Her reaction to discovering the dual betrayal by her partner and daughter adds another layer of drama to this already explosive situation. The next revelation is even more staggering, so stay tuned.
Mr. Chenault has been honest with this court. He's admitted he's been carrying on a sexual relationship with your daughter. At the same time, he was in a sexual relationship with you.
Yes.
Did they deny it at first? But your intuition told you something was going on.
Right, because my daughter was acting funny. If I was sitting on the couch next to Mr. Chenault and I would get up to go to the bathroom, she would get up out of the chair across the room to sit by him.
You'll need to sit down for this one. The judge is floored to learn Mr. Shinewald has known Ms. Holthouse since she was a baby and even had a hand in raising her. The creep factor just skyrocketed. Get ready, because the fallout from this bombshell is monumental.
So you watched her grow up.
Your Honor, I also helped raise her.
Now this just keeps getting nasty. So how will this change if you're his father or if you're his father?
Me and Miss just have to figure something out.
Are we willing to consent to the lie detector test?
Gear up for more twists. The current living situation is disclosed, revealing that everyone still lives under one roof, which adds an unbearable tension to an already strained atmosphere. This revelation has everyone gasping. What comes next will shake things up even further.
And so how often do you get to see Zay?
Oh, we actually all stayed together.
You all live together, and you two are trying to work on and save your relationship.
Well, there are rules laid down for me, her daughter. We're not to be in the same room together. We're not allowed to talk or text each other. Supposed to really even be around each other. Turns down the TV so she can hear the conversations that we're having.
Just when you think it's all out in the open, judge, suspecting more hidden truths, offers Ms. Holthouse and Mr. Shinewald a lie detector test to uncover further secrets. They both decline, but the story doesn't end there. Prepare for more eyebrow-raising moments in the following scenes.
That's how we can better ask questions. And that's why I just gave you all the opportunity to tell the truth. Because it's obvious from where I'm sitting, aren't telling the truth. And there's more to this story. See, we deal in scientific evidence here. So I want to know if both of you're not sleeping together anymore and haven't slept together. Timber, we have access and we can take a lie detector test.
And now for the grand reveal.
It has been determined by this court. You are not.
In a plot twist you didn't see coming, Ms. Ferguson drags her mom into court to question the paternity of the man who raised her, now suspecting he might not be her real dad. She spills the beans on the bombshell she just uncovered, prompting a DNA test demand. Strap in, because the courtroom roller coaster is just getting started.
Ms. Ferguson, you've brought your mother to court today because you were recently shocked to learn Ken Ferguson, who raised you your entire life, may not biological father. You have petitioned the court paternity test on Mr. Ferguson, we'll hear from in a moment.
Ms. Munsell stuns the courtroom as she admits to her daughter, everyone present, that she had multiple partners around the time of her daughter's conception, putting the paternity into question. She's clinging to hope that the DNA results will fix their broken relationship, no matter what pops out of the envelope. Buckle up, the next curve is a doozy.
Ms. Munsell, you acknowledge that you finally confessed to your daughter that you slept with more than one man at the time of. You two are unsure what today's results will be, but hope that either way they will help care the relationship your daughter. Please tell me, how relationship with your daughter get to this?
I have no idea. Things that were said, things that were done.
Alicia lays it all out there, airing the dirty laundry about how her relationship with her mom went south, detailing years of feeling overlooked and unimportant. This led her to confront her stepdad about her mom's secret life. Just when you thought it couldn't get more intense, the next revelation is a jaw drop.
My mom's husband, my stepfather. We met up and we started talking. I confessed everything I knew about the past. I knew she was cheating on him. I've seen text messages, I've seen the guys, I've seen do things that I just shouldn't know a mother. She should have been the one to show me
You know
cheating.
what, Alicia? Perfect. And I'm not here to be degraded like this by my own.
Amid gasps and murmurs, Alicia continues to unpack the messy family saga, detailing her mom's cheating ways and how it skewed her views on love and trust. She recounts the emotional toll it took on her and her relationships. The drama thickens. Wait till you hear what comes next.
I let it all out. Everything I was keeping secrets from him. I was supposed to be her little secret. Supposed to be the only one to know that she was sleeping around. Handle it anymore because I love him like I love him. I figure I have two dads, and now this dad is telling me that this dad might not even be my real father, because when he said that to me.
In a heartfelt testimony, Ken Ferguson steps up, firm in his belief that Alicia is his daughter, despite the swirling rumors stirred up by Ms. Munsell's past escapades. He shares his deep-seated doubts and the hurt stemming from the uncertainty that he might not be her biological father. The plot thickens. Get ready for the twist.
You thought, Ms. Ferguson, this young woman was your daughter.
Yeah, I believe she was my daughter.
Why do you have the doubt?
When I first met her at a party, I found out after this because that's when we met. I slept with 4 guys that night. It was my
Four
friend.
guys in one night. You know this for a fact, or you heard?
No, and we were dating and moved in with each other. Within like 2 weeks, sister started calling me saying, hey, they're down at.
The courtroom is thick with emotion as Ms. Ferguson and her mother dive deep into their tumultuous relationship, exploring the possibilities for forgiveness and understanding, regardless of the paternity test outcome. The emotional roller coaster is far from over. The climax is up next, and it's a tearjerker.
That's a good idea. I think we need the results. Jerome, before I read these results, what are you hoping these results will achieve? Because you say you came here for your daughter.
To give her a peace of mind, but I know what the results are going to be. It's going to be Ken.
And Ms. Ferguson, what do you want?
Relief and repair.
Everyone leans in as Judge Lake gears up to unveil the DNA test results, which could confirm or flip the entire family narrative, possibly redefining relationships and personal identities. The moment of truth is upon us. Grab your popcorn. This reveal is going to be epic.
I want to have to choose all the time. I don't want her to give up on me, so I want repair from that, and I want repair dad to know that my mom was a noise. I just want us all to be somewhat a family instead of me just knowing them never to get along.
And I want to say that.
When it comes to Alicia Ferguson, Mr. Ferguson, you are her father.
Strap in for this roller coaster opener. Ms. Crow lays it all out, explaining why she's dragged everyone into court today. She's determined to prove that Ms. Reinhardt's late son is the father of her child, Thomas, aiming to cement his identity, accusing Ms. Reinhardt of trying her best to throw a wrench in her plans. And guess what? It only gets wilder from here.
Ms. Crow, you have summoned the defendant to court to prove that her son, J.C. Turner, fathered your 2-year-old son, Thomas. You want Thomas to know who his father, and you say that Ms. Reinhardt has done everything she can sabotage your efforts.
Yes, Your Honor.
Things heat up fast. Ms. Reinhardt fires back, calling Ms. Crow a manipulator and firmly denying that her son could be Thomas's father. She accuses Ms. Crow of using her son for financial gain both before and after his unfortunate passing. Buckle up, because the next part is a doozy.
Ms. Reinhardt, you state Crow is a liar and a manipulator, and that the child in question
question is not to see son's baby. You say Miss Crow used your son for money when he was alive. It's trying to claim him as her son's father only to get death benefits.
Yes, Your Honor.
Crank up the drama dial. Ms. Crow reminisces about the early days, sharing how she made sure her newborn son could hear his dad's voice over the phone, painting a picture of a mom trying to bridge a father-son connection from miles away. Emotional? Yes, and it's just the setup for more revelations to come.
It is more than just the money. I would like help with my son. Yes, of course. My son cannot grow and meet his father. So he deserves that right to know who his father and to know who his family is.
Talk to him about his father or have...
Actually, when my son was born and he was, just a few months, I would talk on the phone every day with Jay, and I would on speakerphone so his son could hear his voice.
You won't see this twist coming. Ms. Reinhart throws skepticism into the mix, questioning the timeline of Ms. Crow's pregnancy based on some eyebrow-raising observations about Ms. Crow's physical appearance early on. Her emotional testimony underscores her profound doubts and turmoil. Stick around, the emotional fireworks are just getting started.
In the time period, the frame she said she was, when she told me she was pregnant, it didn't happen that way. There's no way she could have 2 weeks pregnant and had a stomach firm as she did.
You're saying she couldn't have a stomach as firm?
I mean, after 2 weeks, you don't have a stomach as firm as that.
Here's where the plot thickens. Ms. Crow spills the beans on her whirlwind romance with Jay. From their fast-paced love story, the unprotected liaisons that she believes led to her pregnancy. She's convinced of Jay's paternity because, according to her, he was her one and only during that time. The tale spirals from here, so keep watching.
When I first met Jay, we were at a skate park. I noticed him a lot, and I called him over to me and had a conversation. From that conversation, we ended up walking feelings, and it did happen all too. He did ask me to be his girlfriend, and we did have unprotected sex as well. There's no doubt in my mind that I did not sleep with anybody else. When I was with him, to me, there's no other option.
Grab some popcorn for this revelation. In a heart-wrenching moment, Ms. Reinhart discusses her son's mental and health issues, accusing Ms. Crow of exploiting his vulnerabilities for her gain. The complex dynamics and intense emotions highlighted here set the stage for even more gut-wrenching moments. The next segment will hit you right in the feels.
He'd have believed you if you told him the sky was...
Well, that's your own
the
opinion.
Capacity of a senior-year-old.
And this how he had feelings.
He was schizophrenic and he had stress seizures.
And I took care of him. I didn't leave him because of that.
And she could have told him that she was pregnant. That's his...
So you're saying he did not have the discernment, hey, I don't believe that's my baby?
No, I've had 8 grand, and all 8 of my grand favor me. I've got a baby picture.
Dive deeper into the saga. Ms. Crow describes the tumultuous circumstances around her son's birth and her decision to end things with Jay due to his irresponsible behavior, shedding light on the personal struggles and hard choices she faced. The emotional roller coaster is far from over.
In which the baby was born. JC participating in the birth.
Me and JC, at the time we were living together, it was 2015. I have decided no longer go any further in the relationship because I have 2 other kids. I'm pregnant and he's a grown man. He's doing what he wants and I can't stop him. He comes home one night and he's drunk or wide open. We don't live in the best neighborhood.
The tension is cranked to 11. A fiery exchange kicks off over Ms. Crow's intentions with the paternity test and potential benefits after Jay's death. Ms. Reinhart challenges Ms. Crow's actions and motives during the 9 months after the child's birth, insinuating a greedy angle to her pursuit. But hold on, the next revelation will have you on the edge of your seat.
Be in contact and get the DNA, and the benefits are all in hopes that your son will know his father. But what were you doing actively for those 9 months to make sure your child knew his father?
Well,
nothing.
Like I said, it stated earlier, I lost my 3rd month of that year and father of my son, 7th month of that year. I was going through stuff my own son. 7-year-old daughter, I have a 4-year-old daughter.
As the verdict looms, air is thick with anticipation. The court prepares to unveil the DNA test results, ending the suspense and potentially resolving the heated paternity dispute. Every heart in the room is pounding with anticipation, and the outcome will tug at your heartstrings. Prepare for an emotional avalanche that's about to hit.
He was mad with me because he believed I was stealing his money. I was the one making sure his bills were paid. He had a 2-bedroom.
And I was there, and he didn't have nowhere to go. I paid for him. I had somewhere to stay. I didn't have that money, but I made sure he was okay.
It has been determined by this court. The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Reinhart and Thomas Crow is 99.6% are related.
Buckle up, because Mr. Fisher is starting us off with a bombshell. Mr. Fisher opens his case, expressing his regret over signing the birth certificate of 2-month-old Sophia, following the revelation by his fiancée, Ms. Doyle, that he might not be the father. His despair is palpable as he recounts how this news was dropped on him just 1 month ago. Just wait, Ms. Doyle's side of the story is up next, and it's a doozy.
Mr. Fisher, you claim you made the biggest mistake of your life by signing the birth certificate of 2-month-old Sophia. You say your fiancé dropped a bomb on you 1 ago and admitted you may be her father.
Yes, Your Honor.
As Ms. Doyle steps up, the room fills with anticipation. Ms. Doyle admits her infidelity and expresses her hope that Mr. Fisher is indeed Sophia's father. Her emotional state is evident as she stands in court, hoping for a positive resolution to the paternity question that hangs over the family. Hang on, because Mr. Fisher's reaction is just around the corner and it's heart-wrenching.
Ms. Doyle, you admit to making the biggest mistake of your life by cheating on Mr. Fisher, but stand in court hoping and praying is Sophia's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, watch as Mr. Fisher spills his guts out here. A heartfelt moment occurs as Mr. Fisher describes his emotions: sorrow, pain, and betrayal. He recalls the initial joy of fatherhood, which was harshly interrupted by the revelation of Ms. Doyle's affair, dramatically altering his experience and expectations of fatherhood. And just when you think it can't get more intense, the plot thickens.
Can you tell me what you feel?
Sorrow, pain, everything. It all hurts bad.
Because for the month this baby's life, you had no doubt that brand new feeling of being a dad was just ripped
right down the middle.
Grab your popcorn, folks. Ms. Doyle's backstory is a roller coaster. Ms. Doyle details the events leading to her infidelity, explaining how a misunderstanding about Mr. Fisher's fidelity led her to seek comfort with another man, ultimately resulting in unprotected, intimate violence. This confession sets the stage for the paternity uncertainty surrounding Sophia. Strap in, because the emotional twists are just getting started.
One of his family members, I was vacationing with one of his family members in Florida, and another one of his family members that he was with at the time had texted me. He said, "Trey's cheating on you," which we call him Trey, but his name is John. I was hurt, and so I went to be by myself, pool area where I was at the time. A guy walked up to me, and he's like, "Well, you look like you need somebody. Do you want to go to my camper and talk?"
Here's a twist. The happiest day of Mr. Fisher's life comes with a shadow. Mr. Fisher recounts the blissful day he learned of Ms. Doyle's pregnancy, juxtaposed with her internal turmoil knowing the infidelity that had occurred. This contrast highlights the complex emotions both parties were dealing with, amidst what should have been purely a joyful revelation. But hold on, there's more drama as they head to the delivery room.
The day I found out she was pregnant, she had threw up like 3 or 4 times because she was feeling sick. We purchased the pregnancy tests to the house. She took them. One had a faint line, and then one had both lines. And I was happy. That was the best day of my life.
Whenever I took the pregnancy test, I knew that I had cheated on him. So whenever I seen the lines, I was cut. I was like, well, this isn't happening, you know?
As we dive into the birth story, get ready for some feels. The birth of Sophia is described by Mr. Fisher as he recounts the emotional support he provided during the delivery, believing wholeheartedly that he was the father. He shares the profound connection and joy he felt, signing the birth certificate without a doubt in his mind. Next up, Ms. Doyle's guilt starts to unravel, and it's a tearjerker.
When she was giving birth, I held her hand, I felt like I was the dad, which at the time, I was pretty sure I was. I held her, kept telling her, push, push, push. I want to see my baby. And afterwards, right there, I held her. I signed the birth certificate and everything. I thought it was my baby. We stayed there for 3 days. Those 3 days were the most important, made wonderful.
As Ms. Doyle comes clean, the stakes couldn't be higher. The turmoil increases as Ms. Doyle, overwhelmed by guilt, reveals her infidelity to Mr. Fisher after Sophia's birth. The emotional weight of this revelation is shared as Mr. Fisher grapples with the news but decides to stay and care for Sophia regardless of the paternity outcome. The moment of truth is just ahead, and it's going to be a jaw-dropper.
How do you remember that night?
We just fun all day that day, holding Sophia, spending time with her, just quality time. And she started looking at Sophia, started crying, kept crying. She told me she cheated on me. I tell her I love her, she's my world, so is Sophia. I shouldn't have to stay care of some other man because that's what a man is supposed to do. I'll stay and take care of her because I know she thinks that I'm the father.
Ready for the big reveal? Here it comes.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Fisher, you are the father.
Can you believe this drama unfolding? Ms. Bronson opens her case against Mr. Roberts, who she has always believed to be her father, but now he's got doubts about his paternity. She lays out her need for clarity after Mr. Roberts threw this curveball, following a recent shocking revelation. You'll want to keep watching. It's just heating up.
Ms. Bronson, you always known the defendant to be your biological, but have opened your case against him, prove paternity, because he now claims he has reason to deny is your father.
Your Honor.
This part is a total jaw-dropper. Mr. Roberts spills the beans about his world world being flipped upside down. Another guy, Mr. Banks, is claiming he might be Ms. Bronson's real dad. This bombshell has Mr. Roberts reeling from the impact. Brace yourself. The emotional roller coaster is about to go off the rails.
Mr. Robert, you believed Bronson was your firstborn, and 3 years ago, when your world was turned upside down, the news that you may not be biological father, and Mr. claims he is. Correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you see that coming? Ms. Bronson stands her ground, asserting with heartfelt conviction that Mr. Roberts is her dad. No matter what the DNA might say, she's been his daughter all her life. No test result is going to change her feelings. Buckle up. The revelations keep getting wilder.
Your Honor, I feel Mr. Roberts is my father. He's the only father I've known 29 years. That's my father, period. I know him my whole life. That's it.
Mr. Roberts, what is your side?
Well, I always believed that Jasmine was my daughter. I raised her as my daughter as the other children in my life. Only knows me as a father.
This twist will have you grabbing your popcorn. Back in 2009, Ms. Bronson's mom dropped a bombshell over the phone, mentioning Mr. Banks might be her biological father. This news sent shockwaves through Ms. Bronson's life, marking a significant pivot in her family saga. Don't go anywhere, the plot thickens.
What happened in 2009?
I had a phone conversation with my mother. Then she said, Mr. Banks, and she said, don't you remember the guy that I told you who thought he was your father? When she said that to me, Your Honor, it was a what moment, like, what are you talking about? So she said that he wanted to get in contact with me. I gave her my number to give to him, or she gave me his. I can't remember how we actually got in contact. We reached out to one another.
Did you know Mr. Banks?
No, Your Honor.
Hold on to your seats, folks. Mr. Roberts recounts how his fiancée, Ms. Blair, broke the news to him about the paternity doubts, which shook his world to its core. He's been the dad all along, financially and emotionally, and this revelation feels like a betrayal. Watch out. The next part is a doozy.
Ms. Blair told me that she needed to talk to me about something, and that's when I found out. I was kept in the dark about all this. I never knew anything about, spent 8 months in jail for unpaid child support, $75,000 in arrears.
You don't even get a call. Your fiance comes to you and says,
possibility that Jasmine is not my biological, and that took me for a loop after all these years. I was like, I had paused for a minute. I was like, what?
Talk about a plot twist. Mr. Banks recounts a seemingly random park encounter where he was first tipped off about possibly being Ms. Bronson's dad. This fleeting moment didn't lead to anything concrete then, just adding to the current confusion and turmoil. The emotional ante is about to be upped, so stay tuned.
I can recall when she was about 6 or 7, and I ran to her mother, Jasmine, and her sister in the park. She had told me that Jasmine was my daughter then.
Jasmine's mother said, do you remember the words she used?
I just recall her saying Jasmine was my daughter.
And Jasmine was there too?
Yes.
This is an absolute game changer. Ms. Bronson talks about her Thanksgiving visit in 2011 to Mr. Banks' mother's house, an event not shared with Mr. Roberts, which throws another wrench into the already complicated family dynamic. Gear up, the surprises are just getting started.
So you met Mr. Banks, you went to his home Thanksgiving in 2011, that's true?
And I went to his mother's house.
You went to his mother's house. How long did it take for you to inform you believe was your biological father that I had this encounter with Banks?
I didn't tell Mr. Roberts that happened.
You didn't tell him at all?
At the time, I didn't feel comfortable to tell him. I don't want to be the one to come and tell somebody that you're not my job. So I didn't do it.
Get ready for the big reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Robert, you are not the father.
Can you believe that just happened? Mr. Matthews stands up in court, looking slightly uneasy but determined, as he admits to the judge that he truly believes Kiona is his biological daughter. He dives into a heartfelt confession about his past mistakes, emphasizing how much he's aiming to prove his paternity today. You won't believe what comes next. Stick around for the juicy bits.
Mr. Matthews, you say you've made mess in your life, but the worst is not being a good to the defendant's daughter. You claim that has caused her to deny her daughter's father. You here prove the truth. She, biologically, is yours.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Did that really just unfold right in front of our eyes? With a serious look, Ms. Contra Shaw confirms her firm belief that another man, definitely not Mr. Matthews, is Kiona's real dad. This bombshell sets the stage for an intense court battle to uncover the truth about Kiona's paternity, adding layers of emotional stakes to the mix. The tension is mounting, and you'll want to see what happens next.
Ms. Shaw, you admit your daughter believed that Mr. Matthews had, but now stand in court, prove that another man is her biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
How shocking was that revelation? In a surprising twist, Mr. Matthews opens up about his failures as a father, leading to this very moment of paternity dispute. Ms. Shaw isn't buying his redemption arc, though, challenging his past actions with a skeptical tone. This adds a complex layer to their already strained relationship against the backdrop of this paternity drama. Keep watching. The drama escalates from here, and it's getting good.
When I was younger, I made a lot of mistakes in my life, so I can understand that Ms. Thompson would want to act the way she does. I tried to reach out to her on Facebook. She was kind of angry at me because of my episodes in my life.
So you're saying you were not a good father?
Not at all.
Your belief is that this whole issue is surrounding failure to be a good father.
That's true.
Is that true, Ms. Shaw?
No, Your Honor.
Who could have seen that coming? The court gasps as revelations about Mr. Matthews's and Ms. Shaw's marital statuses at the time of their alleged affair come to light, suggesting ulterior motives, hidden agendas behind denying paternity. It's like a soap opera, but in real life, the surprises just keep on coming, and you won't want to miss what's next.
And you had a husband?
Yes.
Oh, so you came to court with your wife. No wonder you said you never had sex with this woman. And you had a husband?
Yes.
So you two were basically cheating on your spouses, one another?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you get to the magistrate, says, I've never had sex with that woman, and the magistrate rules.
This twist was unexpected. Ms. Shaw recounts a pivotal moment when she decided not to pursue paternity further after Mr. Matthews blatantly lied in front of a magistrate. This key scene underscores the long-standing tensions and the emotional toll of this unresolved issue on everyone involved. What happens next will definitely catch you off guard. Grab your popcorn.
The magistrate and asked me, did I want to go forward? And I told him no.
That wasn't what happened.
I never approached him at that point. His wife already knew at that point about Kiana. She didn't have a problem. Kiana was going to their house before this took place, and it was just a blatant lie.
That ain't what happened. She was married, I was married. She was doing her own thing, I was doing my own thing. You know, and when she told me she was pregnant, I was too busy trying to enjoy myself because I wasn't trying to be.
This is a game changer. Amidst the courtroom drama, Mr. Matthews admits that his fear of losing his wife and his reluctance to take responsibility for a child influenced his previous dishonesty. This candid admission sheds light on his personal struggles and the complicated web of relationships at play. The plot thickens, and the next part is even more revealing.
And you knew you weren't telling the truth. Was that because you were scared to lose your wife? That
Yes.
because you did not want to be bothered with a child?
A little bit of both.
But Ms. Shaw, you said that Kiana had already gone over to their house.
Yes.
So how old was Kiana when you were at this magistrate here?
She was 8.
Kiana, so you remember?
Yeah, I remember.
So you remember going over his house?
At least once I remember going over for Halloween.
And your mother told you you're going over to your father's house. And you knew he had a wife.
And other kids.
That revelation changes everything. Ms. Shaw throws another curveball as she reveals her doubts about Kiona's paternity, despite initiating the case against Mr. Matthews. Her confession highlights the tangled web of emotions and moral dilemmas she's grappling with. The following moments will deepen the intrigue. Honestly, it's more tangled than holiday lights.
So why did you open the case against Mr. Matt? Always knew that there was another possibility.
Because when my daughter would go to his house, most of the time she'd be there with his wife. That's why she was crazy about his wife. His kids, those are like her siblings. For him to come in, I wanted to get it out the way while she was still young, that if he's not the father, I don't have to put her through this abuse anymore.
What an intricate web of relationships. As the discussion unfolds, it becomes clear that Ms. Shaw's romantic entanglements have created a confusing backdrop for multiple potential paternal figures in Kiona's life. This revelation adds significant depth to the family dynamics and the challenges they face. You'll be amazed at what's revealed next. This episode is like a reality TV goldmine.
At what point did you hear that there could be another possibility besides Mr. Matt?
I always knew that her husband at the time could have been my father. Mr. Brooks could have been my father. You know, Mr. Matt. I always knew that it could have
So
been.
you grew up knowing that there were at least 3 possibilities of who could be your father. I would prefer this one or that one. I know this one better. Mr. Matthews was the man you wanted to be your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why him?
It was just the way that I saw him with his other kids.
That confession was heartrending, as Mr. Matthews reflects on his colorful past and its impact on his relationships, especially with Kiona. He presents a raw and introspective look at his desires to make amends. His honesty might just tug at your heartstrings. Brace yourself for the emotional outcome. It's about to get even more heartfelt.
I enjoyed my life.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's in the context of your enjoyment was.
Right.
Kiana wasn't having that much.
Right.
That's true.
She was at your house and you love on your other babies and wishing as a child that she could experience the same kind of love, but was feeling out of place. So I want to understand this. You have Kiana at your home. Your wife knows about Kiana.
Yeah.
That outcome was totally unexpected. The courtroom holds its breath as the judge reveals that Mr. Brooks is not Kiona's father, sending shockwaves through the room. This intense moment cranks up the emotional drama as the mystery around Kiona's paternity deepens, affecting everyone involved, especially Kiona. The final revelation is just around the corner, and trust me, it's a doozy.
Because you felt there was a chance that he would love you the same. No child should have to sit. And it's okay to tell people while you were out having fun, I was living in fear. Because to live with your guard up your whole life, that's difficult too. Jerome, let's get the results. It has been determined by this court. Brooks is not father.
Here comes the bombshell. Ms. France drops a major revelation that her dad, on his deathbed, spilled the beans. He might be Sonia Lee's biological father. The audience reacts with murmurs as the judge clarifies if Ms. Lee, standing before her, is indeed the sister Ms. France has been talking about. This juicy tidbit sets us up for a roller coaster of a paternity mystery. Brace yourself. The drama unfolds even more from here.
You're here along with brother who's waiting outside of our courtroom. You say father claimed on his deathbed that he was the biological father of a child. If indeed you've now found the correct Sonia, you believe plaintiff Ms. Lee is your sister?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hang on to your seats because this gets wild. Ms. France spills the tea about always knowing she had a twin in Michigan, sharing how their children, completely unbeknownst to the potential family tie, became buddies. The revelation paints a bizarre picture of how small the world really is and underscores unexpected family connections popping up in the least expected places. Keep watching. The emotional whirlwind is just picking up speed.
The whole time I was growing up, I heard and I was always told that I had a twin in Michigan the whole time. We went to the same schools. Our kids are even best friends and never even knew. I even know her grandmother and my grandmother are best friends.
Get ready for a twisty turn of events. Ms. Lee details her initial confusion and emotional upheaval after receiving out-of-the-blue messages claiming she has a different biological father. She talks about her skepticism and delayed response, highlighting the personal chaos brought by such a monumental revelation. This segment really digs into the complexities of identity and hidden family secrets. Next up, emotions run even higher, so don't go anywhere.
They're receiving some notifications, someone trying to reach me. I didn't respond to the messages for a while, let me say that, because I didn't recognize her picture, I didn't recognize her name. After 3 or 4 messages, I finally responded, where we exchanged numbers and I called her and she just started a story out and it was like, whoa, wait a minute, slow down. But on our dad's deathbed, he had me look for you and we thought you were dead. And I'm like, wait a minute, so now I went from being one man whose name I carry.
You're not going to believe this part. Gloria Washington, Ms. Lee's mom, steps up and throws another curveball into the mix, explaining her past fling with Mr. Miller and why she chose to keep it a secret from her daughter. Her testimony sheds light on the tangled web of personal decisions and hidden truths that shape lives in ways we can hardly predict. The bombshells keep dropping, and the next one is a doozy.
And during the time when I was 6 months pregnant with her, he left me for Mrs. France. When she was born, Mr. Lee was there with me. He took care of me. Mr. Miller, I never saw him. I never told her. I didn't think she needed to know.
Are you ready for the big reveal? The tension peaks as Judge Lake prepares to open the envelope with the DNA results that everyone's been anxiously waiting for.
Is the biological daughter of the late Ronald Miller, Ms. Lee? They are indeed your biological brother and sister.
You wouldn't believe this opener. The episode kicks off with the judge striding in and everyone getting seated. Miss Looper launches into her case against Mr. Downs, accusing him of denying fathering her twins, Braley Nursery, Bishop. Despite his initial persona as a stand-up church-going man, the atmosphere is thick with drama as the stage is set for a showdown over paternity and trust. Just you wait, it only gets more tangled from here.
Of Looper versus Downs.
Thank you, say. You thought the defendant was a respect church-going family man who turned out to be anything but. You claim after giving birth to your twins, Braley and Bishop, Mr. Downs denied fathering your babies.
Yes, Your Honor.
Talk about a plot twist. Miss Looper drops a bombshell, admitting she hadn't quite shut the door on several relationships even as she began seeing Mr. Downs. This revelation comes right after Mr. Downs voices his doubts about being the father, pointing to her ongoing liaisons with other men. The stakes are raised, casting shadows of doubt over the paternity of the twins. Buckle up because the roller coaster is just picking up speed.
Then we ran into some problems. He went through my phone. I did have a lot of open doors.
Open doors, so you still had other relationships that you had not.
This was 2 weeks after we started hanging out. So we were in a relationship, so I did still have open relationships with other men while I was beginning a relationship with Mr. Downs.
Here's where things really start to heat up. Upon learning of her pregnancy, Miss Looper describes how her relationship with Mr. Downs shifted dramatically. Initially, he was all in, attending prenatal appointments and playing the doting partner, but the skeletons in her closet regarding other men start to cloud his mind with doubt. The plot thickens, and trust me, you'll want to see what's next.
We moved really fast. We had a wedding date in 2 months. Relationship changed tremendously though. Our vibe was different. We weren't hanging out. As found out I was pregnant, I called him and he was really nonchalant about it. Once I did get pregnant, he was amazing. Cedric, feet, rub my belly. He would get it by 2 a.m., go get me ice and hot Cheetos.
Can you handle this curveball? Right at the birth, Mr. Downs throws doubt over the room like confetti, especially questioning the paternity of Braley because of her light complexion. This pivotal moment underscores the rare but real possibility that fraternal twins can have different fathers. The tension is palpable, and oh, it's about to go up another notch.
As soon as they brought Brayley into the room, the first thing he said was, "Do you guys do DNA tests here? I've never had a kid come out that light." The first thing he said when he seen her. But he did go see my son, and he did say that he looked like him.
You didn't feel like you could be her father?
I know it don't really matter about election and stuff, but like I said, all my kids favor me, just extremely, you know what I'm saying? And I looked at Bishop, I seen more Bishop in me than Brayley. At the same time, like I said, I know there's another man been involved.
This part is a real tearjerker, folks. As the relationship hits rock bottom, Miss Looper makes the heart-wrenching decision to pack up the twins and move to California, seeking refuge and support away from Mr. Downs. This major twist not only shakes up their personal lives, but also sets up a legal quandary over the twins' paternity and Mr. Downs' role in their future. Hang on, because the emotional fireworks are just beginning.
For several reasons, I was unhappy with our relationship at this point. I'm gonna have to move back with somebody's mom, and they're gonna be uncomfortable with me. They're like, I'll take it from my mom, not yours. I just felt more comfortable going home. It wasn't working.
So you went back home.
Correct.
And now, for the grand finale, hold on to your popcorn. The episode reaches its climax as the paternity test results are disclosed.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Downs, you are not the father.
Can you believe the nerve? Mr. Kidd lays it all out, accusing Ms. Rawlings of leading him on to believe he was the father of her son, Nathaniel, only to flip the script when she met someone else she preferred. He and his mom spill the beans about how Ms. Rawlings' alleged deception has thrown their family into emotional chaos. Mr. Kidd is rock solid in his belief that he's Nathaniel's dad. Just wait until you hear Ms. Rawlings' side of the story next.
You say Ms. Rawlings is a manipulative user who convinced you that you were the father of her son, then changed her mind when someone better came along. You and your mother say Ms. Rawlings mind game, emotional havoc on your family, and you are 100% positive are her son's father.
You're not ready for this comeback. Ms. Rawlings claps back hard, claiming Mr. Kidd was in the loop all along about not being the dad, thanks to his earlier confession of infertility. She accuses Mr. Kidd and his mother of desperately clinging to a false hope of paternity, and she's all set to bust their bubble in court today. Keep watching. The judge is about to dig into the juicy details.
You say Mr. Kidd is fully aware he is not Daniel's father, as he himself, he cannot have children. You say Mr. Rawlings and his mother are desperate people who convince themselves Mr. Kidd is your son's father and you intend to prove them wrong days.
Yes, Your Honor.
Here's where things get spicy. The judge decides to unpack the timeline surrounding Ms. Rawlings' pregnancy and Mr. Kidd's involvement, or lack thereof. Ms. Rawlings recounts how a complicated personal life led her into relationships with Mr. Kidd and another man, making the paternity puzzle even more tangled. Trust me, the medical bombshell that's about to drop is a game changer.
After I went away, after a month after I found out she was pregnant.
Did you tell him it was his child?
No, Your Honor. How it happened was we met through a mutual friend. I didn't know anything about Mr. Kidd. Starting off, my mutual friend ended up leaving, and the situation that I'm in, I didn't have anywhere to go.
Brace yourself for a scientific twist. We get a slice of medical drama as explanations about Mr. Kidd's health condition come into play. His mom explains their rare blood type situation, which could potentially complicate pregnancies, adding a scientific edge to the paternity dispute. Next up, watch how Mr. Kidd's mom reacts when she first hears about her supposed grandkid.
Mr. Kidd told me himself that he has some type of rare form of blood disease that me and his child would die if I was pregnant by him.
It's not a rare blood disease. I am ARH negative and he is ARH negative. If she's RH positive and doesn't get the necessity during the pregnancy, it could hurt her from having future children or that child could pass away.
Grab some tissues for this tearjerker. Ms. Jenkins, Mr. Kidd's mom, shares a heartfelt tale of disbelief and joy upon discovering Nathaniel's existence. Describing the first time she met her grandson in the park as the best day of her life, her story underscores the deep emotional stakes involved. But hold on, there's another dad candidate waiting in the wings.
She said, "That's not your son." I said, "Yes, that is. I gave birth to him. I know who he is." She said, "That's his son." And I was like, "What?" So I contacted his friend who gave me Miss Rawlings' number. We talked for a couple weeks. We were at a park and I said hey to her. I said, "But you know what I'm for." And I went straight to the baby. Picked him up, had said, "Hey, sugar." And he smiled and we played. And honestly, the best day of my life. I'm holding my grandson. I know it's mine.
Just when you think you've seen it all, Ms. Rawlings throws another curveball by admitting there might be another daddy in the picture, as other folks reckon Nathaniel looks like him too. This twist ratchets up the drama, emphasizing the roller coaster of emotions everyone's riding. Don't miss what the expert has to say about Mr. Kidd's ability to be a dad. It's a doozy.
Yes, he did, because he was the one that actually told me to get a test to see if I was pregnant. He actually reached back out to me because he had some other situations going on, looking at pictures, and he questioned it again. He was like, "Are you sure the other guy, your child's father, because he looks like me?" And going through, even his brothers said, "Yeah, he has our father knows he.
The other guy thinks Nathaniel looks like him too.
Fasten your seatbelts for some expert insights. The courtroom calls in Dr. Gator to shed light on Mr. Kidd's fertility situation, debunking myths and clarifying his medical history, which could influence his ability to father children. DNA results are just around the corner, and you won't believe the outcome.
So I think there's two separate issues here. There was an issue about RH incompatibility.
Yes.
And that has to do with a mother and a baby, and if there's different blood types between the father of the baby, positive. But that really doesn't have anything to do with the ability to a child. And so there are various childhood infections, mumps to repeated urinary tract infection to STIs like gonorrhea and chlamydia. Those can cause inflammation in the test, which then causes scarring.
Get ready for the big reveal. In a stunning turn of events, the DNA test results confirm
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Kidd, you are the father.
Buckle up, because this is where the plot thickens. Ms. Casey steps up to lay out her lifelong narrative that her deceased father, listed on her birth certificate, was her biological dad. However, in swoops Mr. Edwards with a plot twist, claiming he's the real father. Amidst this bombshell, her mother throws a wrench into the works by staunchly denying Mr. Edwards' paternity claim and points fingers at another man, supposedly deceased, as the real father. What happens next? You won't believe it.
Miss Casey, you say for more than 25 years, your mother has told you that a deceased man who is listed on your birth certificate is your biological father. Now another man, Mr. Edwards, is claiming is your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You think you've seen drama? Wait till you hear that Ms. Casey pours her heart out about the emotional turmoil of growing up without a dad. She paints a vivid picture of her life as walking through a never-ending dark corridor with no light, starkly contrasting with her siblings who knew their fathers. As she wraps up her heart-wrenching testimony, hold onto your seats, because what's coming is even more gripping.
Not knowing where I came from, I built a bond with Otis Hawkins, who's on my birth certificate, even though he's not. I don't have anything about it. He is on my birth certificate. My oldest daughter I raised my kids the way that I have never been raised. I make sure that the mother and the father is in the home, and they know exactly who their father is.
Just when you think it couldn't get more intense, here's a curveball. Ms. Ewing drops a bombshell that the courtroom didn't see coming. She was informed that Mr. Hawkins, the man listed as the father, was shot dead years ago. The crowd gasps, the stakes are high, and the plot just got thicker. Keep watching, because the next moment is a doozy.
I called his cousin to see did she want to spend time with LaConda. Informed me then that he had been shot in the head by his brother. LaConda was 7 years old. When I was told that, I didn't want to tell her until she got older. I didn't know how to tell her, and I'm telling you exactly what I was told.
Hold the phone. This part's a real tearjerker. In a heartfelt confession, Mr. Edwards reveals his attempts to reconnect via social media, igniting a sliver of hope for a father-daughter relationship amidst the chaos. This revelation stirs the pot further in this already complicated emotional saga. Just when you think you've seen it all, the next twist is right around the corner.
So you reached out to her on social media.
I was looking for them. I am so sorry. I felt like this. Lost one boy. Losing this one. I'm not losing you. I don't even understand. The hair stands up on my back. She looks so much like my family. She's got, what my mom looked like. I got 6 other daughters. And my youngest daughter, if you look at her and look.
Get ready for your jaw to drop. In a moment that feels like something straight out of a movie, Judge Lake reveals that Otis Hawkins, long thought to be pushing daisies, is actually alive and kicking. The court is shook, the audience is in disbelief, and the narrative takes a wild turn. Fasten your seatbelts, because what comes next is truly mind-boggling.
Miss Casey.
Yes, ma'am.
You've been told for over 25 years that Otis Hawkins, the man you believe to be your father, was dead, but he's alive. And we found him for you.
Oh my
Mr. Hawkins,
God.
Into the courtroom.
Grab your popcorn, because this next part is a roller coaster. After a tense wait, the DNA results are in.
Pertaining to whether Mr. Hawk is the father of Ms. Casey. Mr. Hawkins, you are not her father.
Can you believe that claim? Miss Ellis opens her statement by alleging she had a brief fling with Mr. Coger 3 years prior, which she believes resulted in the birth of her son, Zamorian. She's clearly invested in the outcome and eager to prove paternity through a court-ordered test. Just watch what unfolds next.
Ms. Ellis, you claim you had a brief fling with the defendant 3 years ago. Soon after, you ended up pregnant, and now you prove that he fathered your 3-year-old son.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Coger wittily claims it would be a scientific anomaly if he were the father, expressing strong doubt about Miss Ellis's allegations. The courtroom erupts with laughter, underlining the skepticism and disbelief surrounding his denial of any romantic involvement with Miss Ellis. You won't believe what unfolds next.
You argue it would have to be a medical miracle for you to be her child's father. And you're asking the court not to order a paternity test.
Yes, Your Honor.
What a bold denial. Mr. Cogar defends his stance against the paternity test by simply stating, because we never slept together. His straightforward refusal sets the stage for a legal and personal showdown, igniting murmurs of disbelief among the spectators. The tension mounts in the following segment.
Court, why do you oppose the test?
Because we didn't have sex.
So he says.
Oh, we did. We would hang out. When we met, cool, we would talk on the phone, laugh it up, stuff like that. So it came to the point where she wanted to come over and we would hang out. Over the next course of time, we ended up being home alone.
How will he dodge this one? Mr. Cogar recounts an evening where intimacy was hinted but ultimately avoided due to Miss Ellis's complaint of vaginal discomfort, preventing any sexual engagement. This part is crucial as it reveals the most intimate moment acknowledged by Mr. Cogar, starkly contrasting his complete denial of any sexual encounter. Keep watching. The stakes are getting higher.
I knew what was going to happen. I was hoping that it would happen. So like I said, we got up, took my clothes off, she took hers off. Then that's when she proceeded to tell me about some kind of vaginal discomfort or something like that, where she could not have intercourse at all.
It was painful at the time for me to have sex, yes, Your Honor.
This contradiction is staggering. As the judge sifts through text messages that refute the testimonies, we see Miss Ellis and Mr. Cogar discussing the failed attempt at intercourse, which Mr. Cogar persistently denies. This twist creates a puzzling narrative about their relationship. The next twist is jaw-dropping.
We never messed around at all.
And then you say, Miss Ellis, but I can take it now.
We never intercourse at any time.
I mean, the testimony that you're giving right now is the truth. Because she's saying, if you say so, because she thinks you did have sex.
Why did you inbox me and ask me, am I certain that my son is not yours?
This will throw you for a loop. Miss Ellis reveals how she came to realize her pregnancy, adding complexity to the story by introducing another potential father figure, further entangling the timeline and relationships involved. Her account emphasizes her initial obliviousness to her pregnancy and the subsequent astonishment. The unfolding events are utterly unexpected.
And I had to be rushed to the hospital. I woke up, I'm in the hospital room, I'm not knowing, what. So a nurse came in the room and she was like, okay, you had passed out, we feel like you had a heat, so we're gonna give you some fluids and everything, draw some blood to see what happened. So she came to me and she was like, do you know that you're pregnant? No, I'm not. Can you, do another test? Is your name Miss Ellis? I was like, yeah. She was like, oh, okay, well, you're pregnant. Out of all people, I'm pregnant, really?
You won't see this twist coming. Mr. Cogar discovers the pregnancy via a Facebook post, pointing to a serious gap in communication from Miss Ellis. His queries about the child's paternity, despite his denials of intercourse, underline his confusion and the tangled web of their relationship. The surprises keep coming.
Found out via Facebook. I was scrolling, we was friends on Facebook. I scrolled through her pictures, found out she was pregnant. I saw her stomach, she was all pregnant, stuff like that. So, what's your thoughts on it? Do you somehow think that it might be mine?
Say, do I somehow think it might be yours? You say, is it mine?
I said, do you think the baby is mine? And what did you say?
This revelation adds a whole new dimension. Miss Ellis confesses to having been intimate with another person shortly before her supposed encounter with Mr. Cogar, casting doubt on the paternity and complicating the case with the possibility of multiple partners being involved. Gear up for the next bombshell.
You were intimate with someone else?
Yes.
Without protection. Point blank ask, how's the baby? Do you think it's mine? The baby's doing okay, and no, I don't think it's yours. Was that the truth, or were you just saying?
I just didn't want him involved. Because I was with somebody else, and they said that it was going to be there, so what's the point?
This decision is crucial. Judge Lake opts to order a paternity test based on the testimonies and evidence laid out, aiming to clarify the muddled stories and ascertain the truth for the sake of the child. The outcome is going to be jaw-dropping.
Mr. Cogar, you came into this courtroom today asking the court not to administer paternity tests. Your petition, Ms. Ellis, is that I believe there is sufficient evidence. I am ordering that you all leave this courtroom immediately, have the test administered.
This result is a major twist.
Pertaining to 3-year-old Zamarian Johnson. Mr. Cogar, you are Zamarian's father.
And the tension in the courtroom is thick enough to cut with a knife. The episode kicks off with Judge Lake greeting everyone warmly and introducing the drama-packed case of Pace versus Fobbs and Randolph. Mr. Pace, visibly anxious, shares his fear about potentially not being the biological father of his son, Prince, setting a somber tone for what's to unfold. Just wait until you hear what comes next. It's a doozy.
You may be seated.
It's a case of Pace versus Fobbs and Randolph.
You say you will be crushed today if DNA results reveal you are not biological father of your son, Prince.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold on to your seats, because this confession is a whirlwind of emotions. Miss Fobbs admits to making a horrible mistake by being intimate with both Mr. Pace and his best friend, Mr. Randolph. She clings to the hope that Mr. Pace is the biological father of her son, revealing the complicated personal dynamics at play. You'll be glued to your screen for what's up next. Things are about to get even juicier.
You say you were caught between the man you're in love with and his best friend. You admit you made a horrible mistake when you slept with both men, but you say you're still with all your heart that Mr. Pace is your son's biological father.
This revelation is a bombshell that drops heavy on everyone's hearts. Mr. Pace unfolds the story of how he discovered the betrayal during a heated argument when Miss Fobbs blurted out that Mr. Randolph could be Prince's father. The intensity of this revelation sends shockwaves through the courtroom. Buckle up, because the revelations are just getting started.
Well, that's interesting. We were actually in a heated argument at the time that it occurred. Kind of just got blurted out to me that Mr. Randolph could be a potential father for Prince.
So you're in a heated argument as a couple, and just out of the blue she yells, and by the way, your friend could be Prince's father?
Truth comes out in the open, and it's as bitter as expected. Directly confronted by Mr. Pace, Mr. Randolph admits to his indiscretion with Miss Fobbs, confirming the betrayal and amplifying the drama unfolding before our eyes. What's next is absolutely staggering. You won't want to miss it.
So when you met with Mr. Randolph, have you slept with Miss Fobbs?
Strangely enough, he did say it.
How could you sleep with your best friend's girl?
To answer that, Your Honor, I wasn't in the right state of mind. We both was intoxicated.
As the stakes rise, so do the emotions. Mr. Pace talks about the emotional weight and potential repercussions of the paternity results. He details his deep bond with Prince and his apprehensions about how the results might reshape his life and relationships. The anticipation builds. Get ready for the results that could change everything.
I'm very confused at this point. It was really hard for me to be standing here in front of you, and I'm kind of nervous as far as what I'm about to hear. I don't know, really want to move forward.
Mr. Randolph, you submitted to the court a childhood photo of yourself and Prince.
Yes, Your Honor.
Everyone's on the edge of their seats for this pivotal moment. In the climax of the episode, the paternity results are finally disclosed.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Pace, you are not his father.
Hold on to your seats, folks. Mr. Kiesel lays it all on the line, stating that the paternity results today could make or break his marriage. He shares his turmoil after discovering the child his wife is expecting might not be his, emphasizing the deep emotional stakes and his fierce desire to keep his family together. What unfolds next will have you on the edge of your seat.
This is a case of Kiesel versus Kiesel.
You say your marriage depends on today's paternity results after your wife announced the child she is currently pregnant with may not be yours. You are here to prove you are the father and save your family.
Yes, Your Honor.
Here's where it gets spicy. Mrs. Kiesel drops a bombshell in the courtroom by admitting that another man could be the father of her unborn child. Her confession adds layers of complexity to the case and highlights the emotional turmoil she's wrestling with, affecting her marriage deeply. Brace yourselves, because the courtroom drama intensifies from here.
You say it breaks your heart to stand in court to prove that your husband is not your unborn child's father, but you know the truth. Another man is.
Yes, Your Honor.
The plot thickens. The couple delves into how the infidelity revelation has rocked their marriage to its core, leading to relentless arguments and a heavy emotional toll. This segment paints a vivid picture of the deep personal and relationship turmoil sparked by the uncertainty of paternity. And guess what? It only gets more heated.
Our marriage has been put on the line. A month into our marriage, he had cheated on me. It led to where I might not be the father of this child. It was supposed to be a happy, great thing for us, and it's just problems and heartbreak and lots of issues for us.
What is your day-to-day family life like?
It's caused us a lot of issues. We argue nonstop about who the father is. Causes us to be very distant from each other.
Get ready for an emotional roller coaster. Mrs. Kiesel describes the severe strain the paternity issue has put on both their marriage and her pregnancy. She talks about the cancellation of their baby shower due to the feud between potential fathers' families, illustrating the extensive impact of the situation. Hang tight. The next twist is just around the corner.
It has affected me in a huge way, not only just our marriage, pregnancy as well, because it's hard for me to necessarily, yes, I'm excited for it, but it makes it harder when there's so much stress put into the pregnancy, rather than being everybody together, having a good, for like a baby shower.
You're not going to believe this explanation. Mrs. Kiesel sheds light on the rushed nature of their relationship and marriage, confessing that she wasn't over her ex, which led to her infidelity. This revelation offers a glimpse into the personal conflicts that led to this courtroom drama. Emotional revelations keep coming, so stay tuned.
Really rushed into a relationship. We had been dating on and
off, but it was back and forth with my ex. We both have broke up a couple times over while we were dating. And then when we got married, it just was kind of like a let's go do this kind of thing. It was not necessarily young, but quick. So that I think has a big effect on it is because I wasn't fully over my ex.
Grab some tissues for this one. Mr. Kiesel shares the crushing moment he learned the pregnancy he had celebrated might end with a child that isn't his. This poignant moment highlights his vulnerability and the stark shift from joy to despair in his life. Just when you think it can't get any more dramatic, it does.
Because you hope to conceive a child, you have to get the news that, oh no, but you cheated.
We had been trying for a while, and she was in the bathroom. She walked out, told me she was pregnant, and I asked why she was crying. And she told me that there's a possibility that I might not be the father. I broke down myself. Thing that was supposed to be great, we'd been trying. We finally got it. I might not even be the father of it.
Can you feel the tension? Mr. Kiesel clutches at straws, hoping physical similarities seen in ultrasound images, like the nose and lips, might prove his biological connection to the child. His desperate grasp for familial ties amidst uncertainty is touching yet fraught with anxiety. What comes next will surprise you.
We have a node that looks a lot alike. Mine goes down and then bubbles at the end. With the ultrasounds that we had, the child had the same kind of nose.
It appears that you have a similar nose to the child.
We have fat upper lips. I see it in the ultrasound as well.
I want our marriage to work and I want everything to be fine. And
get ready for some expert insights. Dr. Samantha Brown Parks steps in to discuss the hereditary nature of clubfoot, a condition Mr. Kiesel hopes might link him to the child. This expert testimony introduces a scientific angle to the paternity puzzle, thickening the plot as we near the big reveal. The suspense is building, folks.
Whether or not Mr. Kiesel is this child's biological father. Having a physical condition that runs in his family, a clubfoot. Is this something that is hereditary?
So clubfoot happens in about 1 in 1,000 live births in the U.S. Fairly common birth defect. 1/4 of those have a family history of someone having a clubfoot also.
And now, a moment we've all been waiting for. The courtroom holds its breath as the paternity results are finally disclosed.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Kiesel, you are the father.
All right, grab your popcorn. This is where it gets good. Miss Wandick steps up with a mission to prove Mr. Stampley's paternity of her little one. She's not just here to clear the air. She's here to drop some serious family truth bombs. The plot thickens, and oh, it's about to get juicy.
For $79.40 for baby clothing, you gave you and dumped it in a neighbor's driveway.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're also seeking the results of a paternity test to prove once and for all is the father of your...
Just when you think you've seen it all, Mr. Stampley teases the court with a mystery guest waiting outside, ready to flip the case on its head. This cliffhanger could change everything. Stay tuned because the next scene is a doozy.
Furthermore, you say you have good reason to doubt you are not her child's father. You claim to have brought a witness who is waiting outside of the courtroom who will turn the side down.
Here comes the drama train. Choo-choo. Miss Wandick recounts the saga of the airborne baby clothes, flung by Mr. Stampley in a spectacular display of baby shower fireworks. This isn't just a fight over onesies. It's daytime court TV gold. What happens next is even more bizarre. You'll see.
Brought over baby clothes to my sister's house, and we had got into an argument to the neighbor's house, and why would he do that when he bought the clothes for the baby? Not me, but for the baby. It was a gift, though, Your Honor. That's why I'm suing.
Hold the phone. It gets better. Mr. Stampley spills his guts about his financial gripes and paternity doubts, making a case that he might have been hoodwinked into throwing a baby shower. His story adds a dash of Maury to the mix, raising the stakes. Watch out for the next revelation. It's a head spinner.
You, Mr. Stampley, you're going for $410 for a baby shower. For Ms. Wandick, thought she was carrying your child. So at this point, did you have doubts that the child was yours? You say she duped you. You don't look duped right there.
Well, Your Honor, I feel I was suckered and sweet talked into this baby shower.
You can't make this stuff up. The courtroom dives into the nitty-gritty of their rocky romance, complete with confessions of cheating. This segment delivers all the feels and a few oh no she didn't moments. Hang tight, because the roller coaster is heading to a wild twist.
You just said you pretty much asked her to have a child. You say that?
No, Your Honor.
So you had no interest in this relationship?
I didn't expect for it to. I just wanted to remain as.
No, we didn't, Your Honor. Not
and
one
so,
time.
When you found out you were pregnant,
I'm pregnant.
I went away for 30 days, Your Honor. I went to jail.
Bet you didn't see this coming. We explore how Mr. Stampley's stint behind bars stirred the pot in their love stew. The trust is crumbling, and the love boat is definitely rocking. The upcoming testimony, it's like reality TV on steroids.
Returning home from jail, I was over at a friend's house. She was acting real funny, so I just asked her, I said, man, did you cheat? So I started feeling some type of way. I'm like, did you cheat on me? I mean, what's going on? Yeah, I did cheat.
Oh.
So she admitted that she cheated.
I did, Your Honor. I admitted
admitted that I cheated on him. Like he said, we was at his friend's house.
Time for some truth tea. The secret witness finally makes an entrance, ready to spill the beans and possibly shatter Mr. Stampley's world. This testimony isn't just revealing, it's explosive. Brace yourself, because the DNA results are up next, and they're a real game changer.
And your relationship to the defendant is?
Yes, ma'am.
But you are the defendant's witness. What do you know about this?
I caught my sister cheating on Mr. Stampley while he was incarcerated. I was taking my kid home. When I returned home, she was in the bedroom with another man.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Drum roll, please. The DNA results light up the courtroom.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Stampley, you are her father.
You won't believe this kickoff. The judge loudly announces the case of Fondoyan versus Roland. Ms. Fondoyan strides in, ready to prove that her 3-month-old son, Ezekiel, shares DNA with her boyfriend of over a decade. She argues his denial is wreaking havoc on their already rocky relationship. Buckle up, because the courtroom drama is just starting to heat up.
Ms. Fondoyan, you are here to prove to your on-again, off-again boyfriend of 12 years that your 3-month-old son, Ezekiel, is biological child. Say the paternity denial is destroying your relationship, and you need today's results to repair the breakdown in your family.
Yes. Here comes a curveball. Mr. Roland is throwing down the gauntlet, casting doubt on his fatherhood by pointing fingers at another potential dad due to Ms. Fondoyan's close timeline with another relation. With a family friend in tow, they're here to shake up the claims. Grab your popcorn. The next part is a doozy.
You say Ms. Fondoyan was in a sexual relationship with another man weeks before you learned of pregnancy, and you and your mother's best friend are here to prove her son Ezekiel is not biological child.
Yes, Your Honor.
So things are heating up. Tempers flare as a fiery exchange breaks out over who the real daddy might be. The judge steps in to dial down the dramas, insisting on courtroom decorum. Ms. Fondoyan stands her ground, confident in her calendar and sure of the father's identity. Hang on.
He keeps denying my son, constantly denying him. Family is always putting a bug in his ear. It's not your child. He don't look like
That is not my child at all.
You're gonna see? I know who I slept with.
With me, you was with somebody else at the same time.
I know who I lay in bed with, and I know the days I thank you very much.
Gonna have to use court-appropriate language.
Oh, the plot thickens. Ms. Fondoyan spills the tea on finding Mr. Roland sporting a fresh set of hickeys after vanishing for 2 days. He counters, claiming their off-again status gave him the freedom to frolic. The story twists next, so stay tuned.
This man says he's going to the store. Going to the store, you know, you wouldn't think nothing of it. Your man going to the store. 2 days, where you at? I go to his family house, and what do I see? Opens the door with a chain of hickeys all over his neck.
Mr. Roland, why did you have hickeys all on your neck?
Because we weren't together. I was able to do whatever I feel like, Your Honor.
No, we were together.
We were not together. She thought it. We were not together.
Twist and shout. After waiting fruitlessly for Mr. Roland, Ms. Fondoyan throws caution to the wind and picks up a new beau in Albany, stirring the pot as Roland admits to juggling not one, but 2 other women during their breaks. The love polygon unfolds further just ahead.
I patiently waited for him to come back. I waited a month and a half. He ain't come back. I said, you know what?
How? If you went to Albany and picked up a whole new...
Sure did. After a whole month and a half, you want to be
okay, you was already
walking around
dating
with
somebody
2
else.
females around your arms, making me look stupid in the streets. And I picked up a friend that actually did something you couldn't do.
Can anyone keep up? Despite the chaos of their on and off romance, 2 find themselves magnetically drawn back together, creating a whirlwind of custody claims and paternity puzzles. Their complex love saga dives into deeper waters next.
He kept coming back, Your Honor, like a tail.
No. You kept calling me.
And I just kept taking him in. You know, we already have one together. Why not? So I'm going to sleep with you.
She was sleeping at the same time with someone else.
First, yes, I went back and forth.
Hey, so how are you going to try to pin this child on me?
Because
personally,
I know what
that is not my child. That is not my child, Tanya.
Hold the phone. A buddy of Mr. Roland's throws a wrench in the works, accusing Ms. Fondoyan of dodgy date doctoring to pin the paternity on Roland. As suspicions swirl, the evidence tabled next could turn the tide.
I went to the doctor's office, gave me my due date, and it falls onto the days that we were messing around.
Saying you were still messing with him on the 7th, and you messing with me on the 8th, and found out you're pregnant, so okay then. So there you go.
You can't make this stuff up. Ms. Fondoyan whips out a calendar loaded with liaisons, blurring the lines on when conception could have occurred. The court huddles over this pivotal plot point, dissecting dates like a CSI episode. What's revealed next will throw you for a loop.
So, Ms. Fondoyan, you submitted a calendar to the court, outlines the window of time you were having sex with Mr. Roland again. You say you started to have sex with him again on May. If we go to the next page, you also indicated you were having sex with other man where it's outlined in red. May go to the window of conception.
This just in, living together together, but not together. They unveil a living situation straight out of a sitcom, sharing a roof but not a bed, adding layers to their already tangled tale. The drama intensifies further in the coming clip.
And she will go upstairs while I'm downstairs in the same house again.
We wasn't together.
Excuse my language.
You weren't together, but you were living together?
He has no place to go.
But you need me though. But you want me to be the father though, right?
I know.
Want me to be the father.
Well, you better man up. You're not leaving this house and let the next man lay in your bed.
Moment of truth. Everyone's on the edge of their seats.
Has been determined by this court. Roland, you are the father.
The stage is set for some courtroom drama. Ms. Harris kicks things off by claiming that her roller coaster relationship of 15 years with Mr. Sterling has resulted in a little one, who Mr. Sterling is apparently not eager to claim. She's here to set the record straight and make him face his responsibilities. Strap in, folks, because this is just the warm-up.
Ms. Harris, you claim that your 15-year on and off relationship with Mr. Sterling has produced a baby that he is trying to get out of helping raise. To prove paternity, force him to step up. All right, Jan.
Sterling steps up, and boy, does he look shook. He lays out his side of the story, frustrated and fed up, denying the child is his. He's looking for a DNA test to cut ties and hopes to wipe his hands clean of the whole affair. You'll want to stick around because Ms. Harris is about to turn up the heat.
Mr. Sterling, you say Lena told you her son, Kason, was not yours, and you are tired of care of another man's baby. You've come to get the DNA you need to remove your name from the birth certificate. Finally, get Ms. Harris of your life.
Yes, Your Honor.
Things get real as we hear about the baby's first birthday. The courtroom gets a dose of reality with talks of first birthdays and more, pulling at the heartstrings of everyone listening. This is not just about the drama, it's personal. Just when you think it can't get more intense, the accusations start to fly.
So he'll be one. I had him on my birthday last year.
And so, Mr. Sterling, it's almost 1 year. No help, no support?
That's not my baby, and I'm going off of what Charity is telling me. True.
It is his baby.
She tells me when we get to arguing.
Because he get on my nerves, and I don't want him to be in my life. Like, he want to move on and move out his life. I do too sometimes. I hate I even met him.
And the gloves come. The accusations fly as both sides dive into a tit-for-tat about cheating and who's responsible for what. It paints a not-so-pretty picture of their tumultuous time together. Next up, watch as they try to untangle their messy timeline.
And he was cheating the whole time I was pregnant.
Before
That
he
is a
cheated
negative.
the whole
That is a
time.
negative.
And even if he was cheating, that's bad enough. And we don't want known that in this courtroom. Question concerning paternity would surround whether or not we're sleeping with somebody else.
No.
Judge Lake dives into the nitty-gritty with a calendar. The judge tries to piece together the puzzle of their relationship timeline with the help of a calendar Mr. Sterling brought. Each date seems to thicken the plot. Hang tight, because Ms. Harris is about to drop some knowledge.
And you submitted calendar to the court.
ma'am.
First date on this calendar says the doctor's appointment was on March 21st. And the doctor says in Ms. Harris 6 to 8 weeks. And you had on Valentine's. If we count back 6 to 8 weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks, 8 weeks, that is the last in January.
Confusion is the game, and they're playing in the big leagues. The court struggles through a fog of misunderstood medical terms and pregnancy dates. It's like a bad game of telephone with high stakes. Buckle up, as a bombshell revelation is just around the corner.
Grown women that stand in this courtroom that don't completely understand workings of their reproductive organs and systems. What is your doubt based on? I believe this baby is yours. And he's trying to say to me, these are my reasons. Number one, she told me I wasn't. Number two, I did the calculation. This is what I came up with. This evidence he submitted to the court. Right.
Oh snap, plot twist. Just when you think you've seen it all, Mr. Sterling drops a bomb about another possible dad in the mix, and it's a heartbreaker. The plot thickens, and so does the tension. Watch as they navigate this emotional minefield up next.
When she was 8 months pregnant, she told me that it was another guy who could be the baby's father. It broke my heart.
First of all, that's a lie.
What happened?
We had an argument, brung that up. I don't know if she was mad or what. Planted doubt in my head.
lied.
She said, don't worry, you not my baby's father anyway. Like, go on, kick rocks, get on with your life or whatever. I'm like, what? We were just together. I was just, you know, the baby's father and everything.
Tempers flare and the drama skyrockets. Their words cut deep as they air their dirty laundry for all to hear. It's a verbal tug of war with the child's future hanging in the balance. Don't go anywhere. Next part is a doozy.
Things happen. Either you're the dad or you're not.
She is a lie. That's the reason we here today.
Exactly, because you're a liar, you need to step up pretty much.
I don't want to another man's child.
You want yourself.
I love that little boy.
You know that. Like you just don't want to take
That's
care
the
of
reason
another
you
man,
want
baby.
me to be.
You don't
for
take
me
care
not
of
to have
yourself
nothing,
or
for
the
me not
child
to
that
be
you already
nothing.
sit here and kick it like that, baby.
Ain't got nothing to do with this
I'm
situation.
just letting you know.
About
Kick it
Casey.
like you do now.
Here comes the kicker about the birth certificate. Mr. Sterling signed the birth certificate despite his doubts, a move that's loaded with implications about his feelings and doubts. The emotional roller coaster isn't over yet. The reactions are priceless.
Here is the birth certificate that he signed.
Let me
And I
see
wanna
that,
submit
Jerome.
this
Let me
to
see
you.
the birth certificate.
That's your brain.
No, that's your brain.
So this is evidence of Kason Sterling's birth certificate has signed as father. Why execute the birth certificate if you know you have doubt?
Like at the 8 months when we got into it, I thought it was just because she might have been, maybe she did just say this out of
you
the
know
side
you
of her.
cheated and you lied and you wrong.
A quick chuckle breaks the tension. In the midst of the chaos, Mr. Sterling recalls the lighter moments of supporting Ms. Harris during her pregnancy. It's a brief laugh in the middle of a storm. Next, the stakes get even higher. Don't miss it.
Yeah.
He's trying to jump.
Baby, I look.
I'm not. No, don't worry,
Man.
Miss Harris. I'm not laughing.
I rubbed them big old.
We're not laughing at you, Miss Harris. I'm laughing with you though because I was looking at some old pics when I was
Man, that's
8,
what
9
I'm
months
trying to-
pregnant. I mean,
Listen.
my feet were huge.
Oh, I was
Like it's crazy.
Sexy, and I own
So
it.
I know that's
Yeah.
right.
Judge Lake brings it all back to what matters most. She cuts through the noise, reminding everyone that at the heart of this circus is a child who needs stability. The grand finale is coming up and it's going to be a jaw-dropper.
The answers relating Kason's paternity. That's why we're here. And the truth is, if it's determined he's biological father, whether he likes responsibility or he does not, he will have. Because if he does not take care of it, the court will ensure that he does.
No
So
problem.
now let's get to Mr. Sterling. What is your hope?
I do, young. I done grown a bond with him. Like, he calls me daddy.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. The DNA results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Sterling, you are the father.
Exactly.
Buckle up, folks! Miss Taylor steps up, asserting that Mr. Brown is indeed the father of her 3-month-old daughter, Melanie. She's also chasing him for a neat sum of $22.56 in childcare costs the baby's first few months. She's fired up and ready to prove her case. And boy, does she mean business. Let's see how Mr. Brown handles this fastball.
You're here today to prove to Mr. Brown that he is the father of your 3-month-old daughter, Melanie Brown. Ms. Taylor, you're also suing Mr. Brown for $256 in childcare expenses for the past 3 months of your child's life.
Plot twist incoming. Mr. Brown swings back, suggesting that maybe Miss Taylor was already pregnant by another man when they first got together. He's not just throwing shade, he's practically causing an eclipse his claim that she's got baby fever. What's she going to throw back? Stay tuned, it's getting spicy.
Mr. Brown, you say Ms. Taylor is obsessed with children and has baby fever.
Yes.
And you believe she may have already been pregnant by another man the first night you had sex.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, the drama unfolds. During a heated confrontation, Miss Taylor quizzes Mr. Brown about what he's actually done for their baby since she was born. His answer, couple of packs of cheap diapers. That's all, folks. And guess what? Those diapers caused a rash that sent the baby to the hospital. Grab your popcorn, because this soap opera is just getting started.
He haven't did nothing for her. All he did was bought her 2 packs of cheap diapers, and I let my baby wear them. And 2 days later, she got a diaper rash, and I had to take my baby. And I called him to tell him that she got a diaper rash. He said, "So what I supposed to do? That ain't my baby."
So you bought some cheap diapers because you didn't think it was your baby?
Yes, I mean, it was better than nothing, I thought, because I didn't really know whether it was my baby or not, so.
You can't make this stuff up. We dive into their backstory. They met at a club during Miss Taylor's 18th birthday bash. Mr. Brown, the charming older man at 32, seemed like a catch at the time. But as we peel back the layers, it's clear this relationship started on shaky ground. What's next in this telenovela? You won't want to miss it.
I met him at the club. It was right after my 18th birthday, and I went to taking and dance with my friends. And he came up to me and was like, "You're beautiful, and I like to get to know you." And back to his place.
Well, she was more asking me to my place.
No, I wasn't, Your Honor. He was coming on to me.
He came up to you in the club, and he was how old?
32.
Did he really just say that? In a tit-for-tat exchange, Miss Taylor accuses Mr. Brown of being all about babies on their first night together. He denies it, suggesting she might have been the one with a bun already in the oven. The accusations are flying faster than a reality TV reunion special. What will the judge make of all this? It's about to go down.
This is my first time meeting her. She talking about, oh, do you like babies, or how do you feel about? I'm thinking that she was already pregnant.
And yet you still went ahead and had sex with her.
Yes.
That should have been a note to self. Or extended play booty call.
It was just a booty.
What was this?
This is a booty call.
32-year-old man with an 18-year-old girl.
And the plot thickens. Miss Taylor lays it out. Mr. Brown has been about as helpful as a chocolate teapot, only showing up sporadically and contributing next to nothing. She's calling him out big time in front of the judge. How will he wriggle out of this one? Keep watching. The judge's reaction is up next, and it's a doozy.
Your Honor, only reason I went back to his place because I feel more than what it came out to be because I thought he would be more mature because he was interested to older men, but he turned out just to be like the rest of them.
Father figure or father for her baby.
Because you
are the father of my baby.
She was already.
Yes.
I was not, Your Honor.
The first time we used a condom. The second time we.
If I was already pregnant, how come my baby 3 months?
You'll want to lean in for this. As the debate heats up, they spar over Mr. Brown's lack of involvement and his dismissive reaction when he found out about the pregnancy. Miss Taylor is on a mission to prove him wrong, but Mr. Brown is as slippery as an eel. Courtroom is electric. What will happen when the judge steps in?
He said, we only 3 times. I wore condom today, my baby. You need to go
so
find your baby daddy.
So he immediately denied the baby?
Yes.
Because Mr. Brown,
okay, she needs to find her baby daddy.
You are my baby daddy.
I started doing some research on, and I found some colored pictures of her.
What is this, sir?
And she portrayed herself to be such a good girl.
And these are pictures of what?
Around the time she said she got pregnant.
So you found these pictures?
Right. I was trying to find the baby daddy for her.
Here comes a curveball. The judge digs into Mr. Brown's history, uncovering his minimal involvement during the pregnancy and questioning his sudden interest now. The air's thick with tension. You could cut it with a knife. What explosive evidence will come out next?
You go through your whole pregnancy by yourself?
He only came around like 3 times when he wanted to have sex.
Is he in the delivery room with you?
I had the baby and he held the baby. I have a picture of him holding the baby.
Sex once
and then he said 5 minutes, then he said he was going to smoke a cigarette and he never came back, Your Honor.
Because I didn't feel a bond.
See, this is a picture here of you.
It's getting hotter in here. A birth certificate and a photograph of Mr. Brown holding the baby are thrown into the mix. He looks about as comfortable as a cat in a room full of rocking chairs. How will he explain this one away? The courtroom is on the edge of its seats as we roll into the grand finale.
And then you go outside, you tell her I'm going out smoking, you never come back.
Because my other baby, as soon as I held the baby, I felt a bond.
So you are a father?
Yes.
How many other children do you have?
5.
Did you put him on the birth certificate?
Yes.
You put his name down?
Yes.
You have a copy of that birth certificate?
I never put my name on there. I didn't know my name was even on there.
So this is a copy of Melanie's birth certificate.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was there.
Here's the showstopper. The DNA results are in, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are the father.
I told you.
The courtroom is buzzing right from the get-go as we dive into the drama. The case of Stovall versus Hines kicks off with high stakes. Mrs. Stovall is determined to prove Mr. Hines fathered her 4-month-old son Robert, hopes of reuniting and marrying. Mr. Hines, however, casts doubt on his paternity due to her alleged infidelity, claiming her actions don't line up with her words. The scene is set, and you won't believe what's coming next.
Ms. Stovall, you say nothing could mean more to you than today's results. You are desperate to Mr. Hines that he fathered your 4-month-old son Robert with the hope you can win him back and one day get married.
As the tension thickens, Mr. Hines lays out his heartbreak in no uncertain terms. He believes another man fathered the child and expresses willingness to reconcile if the DNA results are surprising, detailing his emotional turmoil despite once loving Ms. Stovall deeply. Just when you think it's tense, Ms. Stovall's response adds another layer.
Mr. Hines, you claim you once loved Ms. Stovall but believe her baby was fathered by another man and therefore can't be with her. You say your proof is overwhelming. The DNA results shock you. Consider getting back together.
Emotions are high as Ms. Stovall takes the floor, pouring her heart out. She discusses her undying love for Mr. Hines and her determination to prove paternity to mend their fractured relationship. Mr. Hines counters with doubts about the baby's paternity due to what he sees as serious inconsistencies in her action. Buckle up because their relationship backstory is about to unfold.
I really love Mr. Hines and just want to prove today that this is his son so that we can be together and hopefully get married one day.
But you have doubts, Mr. Hines.
Yes, I have doubts because although I do have a lot of love for Miss Stovall and I've given a lot to her and sacrificed a lot, there's just so much things that she has done that has created a lot of doubt and a lot of discrepancies of if this really is and truly my son.
Here comes a trip down memory lane with a twist. The court dives into the couple's past relationship dynamic. Mr. Hines recalls how their romance rekindled through a modern love story involving Instagram DMs, leading to a deeper connection. However, emerging doubts fueled by potential infidelity signaled trouble. The revelations keep piling up, and what's next is even more jaw-dropping.
I met Miss Stovall when I was 17. She was about 21. As time went by, I got older. I got more established in myself, and I seen her again on Insta, exchanged DMs and everything. As that relationship progressed, started getting deeper and deeper. But as we got deeper and deeper in, there started to be red flags for me. Might not be as faithful as she say she is.
What kind of red flags?
Exchange passwords. She went through my stuff, I went through her stuff.
As the plot thickens, trust issues take center stage. Mr. Hines describes a slew of questionable activities and Ms. Stovall's provocative actions, including sending Mr. Hines pictures with other men, which she claims were just friends. As the trust continues to crumble, get ready for a bombshell piece of evidence that changes everything.
If I was to elaborate, she has a lot of instances where she'll run off. I won't have track of her for hours on end. Times where her phone where it'll go straight to voicemail. She'll run off with friends. I'll see these messages. I'll see these interactions on Facebook, and it just keeps happening. It's not something that's just a one-time thing.
Ms. Stovall?
Your Honor, he's very jealous and very overprotective.
Hold on to your seats, because the evidence just got real. Photos sent by Ms. Stovall during heated moments are displayed, adding fuel to the fire of jealousy and doubt about the child's paternity. These images stir up a storm in the courtroom, paving the way for an intense scrutiny of their timeline, a crucial piece of this puzzle.
Stovall, you sent him pictures of you with other men?
They were friends of mine. Never sexual between me and those friends.
Okay, so did anybody bring some pictures? Does anybody bring some evidence?
The first one is a picture of her when she got into it with her mother over there, making me question the paternity with this other guy, saying that we're good, we're straight.
And this attached to some type of mess where paternity was questioned?
Yes.
The plot takes a twist as Mr. Hines presents a detailed timeline surrounding the conception of their child. He correlates their relationship's tumultuous breaks and reconciliations with the pregnancy timeline, using a calendar to mark suspected conception times during their separation. Strap in, because a family member's testimony is about to throw a curveball into the mix.
This calendar.
Jerome, will you please hand up Mr. Hines' evidence? What is this, sir?
This right here is just inception and how the conception worked. Would it be okay if I walk up?
Yes, you may approach.
Something. Early June. She was living with me and my mother and my stepfather at the time because we all had her there. She was living there. Came back from work. She said she went out with a friend and she hasn't been back since such and such time.
You won't see this coming. A surprise witness steps up. Ms. Stovall's mother takes the stand, offering her reluctant endorsement of Mr. Hines as the biological father, despite her reservations about the couple's volatile relationship. She hints at the possibility other biological fathers, given her daughter's questionable behavior. Just when you think you've heard it all, DNA results are about to drop.
Do you think Mr. Hines is your grandson's biological father?
Yes. I don't want him to be, but...
And you've heard the testimony thus far concerning pictures she sent, compromising photos, men talking to her on Facebook, that there could be another biological father. Okay, so
it's always a possibility. I wasn't there if she did that, so I can't say that.
So what you're saying is you can't
that.
say for certain.
Yes.
As the courtroom holds its breath, DNA results are finally revealed.
Mr. Hines, you are the father.
Told